The Witcher 3. This is the best RPG I've played. Not that that's saying much, considering this is one of two. I've only put about 20 hours. Only. That's a weird thing to say, considering I've put 2 days into Fallout 4. The 20 hours I've put into The Witcher 3 is only about 5 quests. I don't know how many quests there are, but I've got about 20 secondary quests and 3 main quests currently on my roster of, hey, look, here's the thing. I do want to note, 2 days in Fallout is completing Fallout, whereas 20 hours in The Witcher 3, I feel like I'm not even beginning the story. I'm getting a little bit of a prologue at this point. But maybe that's just something that I'll bring up later, of which you'll get why I feel like maybe I'm not that far in. But the detail in the quests so far have been amazing. Just the specific nuances within the quests are almost perfect. The only disconnects I can think of and the little details are the times where people say, hey, let's play Gwent. I know something horrible just happened to me or my family, but hey, do you want to play Gwent? Let's move on to Gwent. If you have noticed, I quite like the idea of moving on to it. Gwent is the Hearthstone of the universe, and it's good. I like it, but can't play it. Worth a damn. I can win a round now and then, I can win a game now and then, but yeah, I've lost about 5 times just to one asshole. A shopkeeper, whoever. I can have 5 points in the last round, and then he'll have 45 by the end of it, and I'm like, you're an ass! Really, I think all I need to do is buy more cards? Either way, it's a good little game inside the game. So let's move on to the game itself. I have 2 things in the game that I find perfect. Pitch perfect. I don't think either of them are the aim of the game, or the aim of your interest, or whatever it's supposed to be, but first, we'll talk about the Fists and Fury quests, of which are my favourite quests. They're boxing championships within the game. I'm currently the champion of 2 districts. I think there's only about 3, which, yeah. I really do wish there was more to do with that, because I like winning easy money. And I know that seems like, oh, that's something that should be fixed. But it is challenging at times, but that's because I'm being inept and not blocking. Yeah, the fights have 1 or 2 little spots where I'm going, maybe I could, properly deal with that. But a lot of the time it's just, alright, you've hit me once, I'm gonna kill you. And I do kill them. And it's really fun. They're fun little fights within the game, and it feels better than the sword play that you do for actual fighting and actually being in a quest, because it's very limited, which I'm trying to defend as being something that shouldn't just be limited. And it's weird. I really want more of it, but I know if I had more of it, I would get bored of it very quickly and very easily. It's like when you shave, for most guys, beards I'm talking about, just the beards, just men with the beards, and some of the ladies with the beards. I don't discriminate, as you'll find out later. But when a guy shaves his beard off, sometimes he has that, damn, I shouldn't have done that, should I have? No. I wish I kept it. It really would have been better. Now I miss it. I can't play with it. Okay, maybe this is just me, but I like to play with the hair on my chin and my neck and stuff and my face. I'm not weird, you're the one that's weird. But yeah, I love the fights, and I want more, but I know that if I had more, I'd not like it as much, which it's weird. It's weird. I love it. I love it. Anyway, the other part of the game that I love and think is just done perfectly, just pitch perfectly. They have mastered it down to a T, and I think I'm the only one that will ever pick up on it. But this game is more than just an open world RPG. Yes, a little more, at least for me. It's a horror. I am terrified of everything. I've fought bears, dragons, weird spider, scorpion things. I jump at my own shadow. I jump when a tree is caught by the wind. It's beyond terrifying. Everything just scares me. The soundtrack, the whispers in the wind scare me. It's the kind of horror I like. It's almost psychological horror at this point. It's really well done scaring, because it doesn't just go boo. It goes, alright, this is going to be set in the mood of this is going to terrify you. And then something terrifying happens. It's not, oh hey, look, you're in a house. Cut the camera left. Okay. Cut the camera right. Oh, everything's moved. That's some scary shit, man. It's not just, ooh, pan left, pan right. Oh, something's happened. It's, okay, here's some scary music. Here's some whispers in the wind to scare you, and nothing happens. Here's some scary music. Here's some whispers in the wind. Something terrifying happened. Run! It is that. Sometimes something terrifying happens. Sometimes something doesn't happen. It's scary. If a bear just jumps out at me, I'm going to be scared for a minute. But after that minute, I'm just going to be like, yeah, I don't care. Pfft. Who cares? It was a bear. I killed it. Pfft. Like, come on, bro. Come at me. It's that kind of thing of like, yeah, I can take a bear. I've taken a bear. Kiss my ass, bitch. It does that thing of the build to the scare. Something that doesn't happen in a lot of things anymore. It builds it and builds it and builds it, and then does this very simplistic, here's the scary thing. It's really well done horror. So the story, to my knowledge, is a man trying to save his daughter. So let's just clear the air right now. I've never played a Witcher game before The Witcher 3. I'd liked to go back and play the other two, but I just don't have the time. I'd love to have the time to play all of The Witcher and understand every little detail of the whole lore and everything. But a friend of mine, well, kind of, has put 200 hours into one save. I'm 20 hours in, he's 200. I think the problem with the story is me. If the part I'm doing at the time is a little hard, I'll stop live streaming and then come back to it another day. And somehow that it clicks. I understand how to beat that thing. For example, you have to, you have to beat a werewolf. And that werewolf regenerates health, which is a little bit hard. And when you don't know exactly what to do or how to do it, for example, telekinesis and then zap him, or hit him a bit, yeah, you kind of don't understand, hey, look, here's how to do this. Come back another couple of days later after playing in other bits of the game, and boom, done. Yeah, I've kicked a werewolf's ass. I've kicked a bear's ass. I've kicked a weird scorpion spider thing, and the same goes with the story. So I'm not a huge fantasy fan. I'm not in general. Hence why the descriptions always say Game of Thrones sim. So when something gets a little complex for a fantasy fan, I'm like, I need a dictionary. I need to step away and understand this with a little bit of thinking. That's why I don't live stream a lot of the game. My brain ends up saying, simple and logical isn't here. What the hell? I'm not saying I'm dumb, but I am dumb. Duh. Anyway, the story is about Geralt, a man who is looking for his stepdaughter. It was simpler to adopt back then because governments weren't really a thing, and yeah. She's gone missing, and there's I don't know if he's really this, but I'm just gonna call him this because I've not had an explanation yet of what he really is. I just had his name, and yeah, it's in the title. A Witcher hunter. Essentially, he's one of the people that would say, the only way to fight monsters is the pure way. We don't need these mutant beasts fighting more mutants. So, 1272's version of a racist. The game isn't really about that, though. The only reason Ciri, your stepdaughter, is your daughter is because of work. Yes, you're just a man doing his job. Nothing more nor nothing less. You're contracted to do jobs. That's how the story advances. You do little jobs as a Witcher, your job, to get information on Ciri. You do all these little bits and pieces of your job to do bits of the story, which I love. That's what an RPG should be. That's what games that have people that do professions should do. I don't want to be a professional superhero when I'm a police officer. I don't want to be a professional superhero while looking through a tomb. Yes, I'm looking at you, Nathan Drake, you son of a bitch. I don't want a superhero complex in every character. Geralt doesn't have that. He's just a man doing his job. Why would he need a hero complex when all he's doing is doing his job? Don't get me wrong, you can still get money for your jobs, but yeah, a lot of your jobs are based on trust of getting information at the end. I've yet to have that. Yeah, thanks for doing that job. I'm not going to give you information. I'm looking for that one evil person, and I've yet to find them. But then again, I am only 20 hours in. Again, only 20 hours. So I don't know if this will be in the video, because this is going to get very heavy very quick. But the only disconnect I have with the game is the game is Hitler's idea of the perfect race. Everyone is white and they hate each other. Wait, that's Britain. That's not really something that detracts from the quality of the game, of which I may get onto in a minute, but you may be confused on why everyone is of the Aryan race. They are all white as milk and just, if you're not white, you're apparently a monster, which is, It's weird. I don't understand why everyone is white, but yeah, everyone's white. I'm not saying don't buy the game because of that reason. I'm just saying it's an observation within the game where I'm walking around and I'm going, wow, this is a lot like Britain, isn't it? Huh. This is weird. There are even articles I've found in my online research of the game, and yeah, some journalists think that, oh, there's no black people, there's no Hispanic people, there's no other race in this game. That means it's racist. And I'm not saying it's not racist, and I'm not saying it is racist. I'm just saying trying to get those clickbait titles of, oh, the game's racist, blah, 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 blah. It is just dumb on a journalist's part. I'm not trying to say that journalist is dumb. I'm just saying trying to get views based on that observation alone is becoming annoying, because everything, a lot of the articles that detract from games are, oh, all the characters in this game are sexist and racist. And then you play the game and go, yeah, there's not a lot of racist stuff in here. There's just, the time being portrayed the way it was. It's the weird thing that I had trouble trying to sit down and write this without feeling like I was about to be bombarded with, oh, you're a racist for saying that. But the game may not be trying to be racist, but incidentally is getting categorized as a racist just because here's white people. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. They don't have black people or other races in general, but they do have one or two little minorities showing up in the game. For example, the game slightly does better than North Carolina, which is weird, because there's a trans person. Okay, maybe slightly more on the cross-dressing side, but yeah, there's someone that dresses up in women's clothing yet has male genitalia. For there to be articles saying, oh, the game is bad because it has men being men in the time of which the game is set, it's always a disconnect when people don't actually act the way they would have. It's, oh, this is a utopian society of the 70s being completely fine with black people in America, when still to this day, there are people that are racist. Oh, racism is gone. Okay. You can walk into Scotland, find a white man, walk out of church, screaming all these racial slurs. Hear that and then tell me that, hey, the racism's gone. I'm not saying the game isn't racist. I'm not saying the game... I don't think that it would be on purpose. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. Unlike some journalists that would say, oh, it's a bad game because there's no black people. I'm saying it's a disconnect. And I feel like there should be at least one or two black characters, but it doesn't detract from the quality of the game. It detracts from my immersedness, or my feeling of being immersed. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. I feel like there should be black characters, there should be Hispanic characters, there should be people of all races, but there are some minorities, at least one minority, pushed in. Either way, if you hate the game because of a stupid little thing that may have been an oversight, may have been something else, may actually be racist, I don't know. I don't know the developers personally. I don't ask them. I just go, they have made a phenomenal game, and it is beautiful, but doesn't have all the immersive feelings that I really want to feel. But then again, why would I be immersed when there's unicorns and wait, unicorns are Scotland's national animal, so yeah, I really should feel immersed when there's a unicorn in the room. Either way, when there's dragons, unicorns, bears, and wait, there are bears in real life. Flying humans, flying this and oh wait, people fly. Sure, they use metal cans of farts, but you know, Anyway, dragons and this and that, and why should I feel immersed in a game that is George R.R. Martin's wet dream? Anyway, I would love to say the game is perfect. It's not. It's forever going to be one of my favourite games, but it's like all others on that list. It has faults. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas has its faults. Grand Theft Auto 5 has its faults. Red Dead has its faults. This has its faults. And yes, The Last of Us and WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 does have some flaws. It's still a good game. On the other hand, if you do like the sound of the game, I suggest that you look into it more. It's a good game by my standards. And to some people, those standards are pretty high.